For as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a podcaster. For me, being a podcaster was better than being the President of the United States. Hey guys, welcome to Film Lads episode 3.
Nice.
They didn't know I was going to do that.
I love that.
As always.
Any Goodfellas reference is a good reference.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, as always, I'm Kirk, joined by Nolan Victor. Say hi, guys.
Hello, guys.
Hey, how are you?
All right, and today we're doing a cheeky little double feature. We're tackling the original Suspiria and the new Suspiria. Cheeky little discussion. We're going to start with Dario Argento's original Suspiria here. So I know, like, we're all fans of the original Suspiria, big fans. Mm-hmm. And we'd all seen it going in before the original Suspiria. So we're just going to go, like, quickly through a basic rundown of, like, what we love about this movie. Is it the only giallo you guys have seen?
I believe so.
Yeah.
The only giallo and the only Argento that I've seen.
I've seen another Argento, but it wasn't that great, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was produced by him. Fuck, I'm forgetting the name of it. Demons 2 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty crazy, but
not very good.
No, I forget the name of it. Whatever. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, the original, pretty great movie in my opinion.
For sure.
Not a perfect film by any means, but I love it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's that kind of, I'd say it's your classic like style over substance movie, but not really in a bad way. I feel like it's style over substance, but it's not pretentious or anything like that.
No, it knows what it is. It's
a genre picture.
Yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't like it uses the style to elevate it above other among horror films. Suspiria really stands out to me. Like, it's always stood out as just completely different from everything else.
I still have it. I have a list on Letterboxd. On my Letterboxd, it's like top 20 horror films of all time, in my opinion. And I have the original Suspiria barely in there, I think.
Barely, eh?
Yeah, it's in my top 20 horror films.
Yeah, it'd be in my top 20 for sure.
Yeah, it's great. Like,
yeah, it's probably one of my favorites, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just the fucking blue, yellow,
the
red
colors are
palette.
like the best thing it has going
for
yeah,
it.
and the theme.
And the score.
Goblin?
Goblin score is
so good.
We can't say that's the best thing going for it when Goblin exists, alright? It may be repetitive.
It is repetitive, but not in like a bad way. I feel.
And have you heard, like, listen to that main song or whatever? So long. Like,
I know it's, what is it, like 7-8 minutes?
Yeah, it's ridiculously long, so it's just like they keep reusing this really long song.
The same melody, and it just keeps building.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely key for the movie, though, in a lot of those scenes.
Yeah, like, I definitely want to explore the, like, giallo genre more, but, like, I just haven't really, like, gotten time.
Yeah.
Like, I need to watch Blood in the Black Lace. Like, this is kind of going off tangent here, but Suspiria is what, like, makes me want to go view these other films. If you haven't seen the original Suspiria, I think I can, speaking for all of us, we all highly recommend the film.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I mean, don't go in expecting, like, Oscar-worthy performances or, like, to be absolutely terrified out of your mind. I don't think it's that scary of a film. Like, there are, like, very scary scenes, but if you're just looking for a really fun, suspenseful movie that's, like, just beautiful production design, like, every frame is just full of color. It's just a really fun movie, in my opinion.
For sure.
All right, now that we've gotten, like, our basic general thoughts on the movie out of the way, I guess we're going to go into more spoiler territory. If you haven't seen the movie, I would pause the video, go watch the fucking movie, because it's pretty much an essential for any horror fan out there.
Yeah.
And come back and listen to this discussion. So, do you guys have any, like, favorites? There are, like, a bunch of standout scenes to me, but any that particularly come to mind in your guys' head?
The first death scene in the movie is really fun to watch, really stylized. I love the production design in that scene, just so colorful, like we've already said. I like the one death scene in the wires, or like the barbed wire, or what is it?
I honestly
she gets caught up in
I can remember. There's like that blue light.
The blue light, yeah.
To me, all of the death scenes are fucking amazing.
Well, for sure.
Another one that I've just been thinking about recently, because it doesn't really appear in the adaptation. This entire character,
I think I know what you're going to talk.
The entire character doesn't exist, and that's the blind piano player.
I knew you were going to say him.
The dog scene.
Like,
that's what I thought you were going to say.
That scene is fucking ridiculous. Where all these like crazy voices are happening, and he's just in this wide empty space.
Yeah.
And the dog turns on him. It's ridiculous. I hadn't seen the first time I watched Suspiria. I hadn't seen anything like that. And
yeah, it was so cool.
Like, just the time I watched the film in my like film watching career, whatever you want to call it, in my delve into cinema, like, it was such a big influence on me.
Yeah, for sure.
And it is the ultimate like style over substance film, 100% for me.
I also feel like, going to what you're saying, speaking of influence, I feel like we should talk about the influence this movie has. So, regardless whether you love it or hate it, this movie has, like, it's one of the most influential horror films.
I totally agree, and I think that a director you really love, Nicholas Winding Refn.
Yeah, Winding Refn.
I think he draws a lot of inspiration from this movie,
for sure.
Especially I haven't seen too many of his films, but especially in stuff like Neon Demon.
Oh, it's so Suspiria.
It's so Suspiria to me.
Well, yeah,
I would argue that even like a lot of what happens in the 80s with the neon and that stuff.
You think that was inspired from this movie?
Yeah, and like the slashers of the 80s, like John Carpenter.
For sure.
Yeah, I could see that.
In my opinion, you see the effects of the Italian slashers, their influence happening in America right away. Like, it's not, you don't even have to go as far as, what is it, NFW? No.
NWR.
NWR.
Yeah. That was just one example.
That's just one.
Even when I watched it stood out for me, like, in the Neon Demon, you get these reds, these blues that just stand out so well, and there's even like kind of a witch aspect to it, and there's even like, what is that in the first death scene, one of the girls, like the girl who gets murdered in the first death scene, she looks out the window and she sees like a cat or something.
Oh yeah.
You know what part I'm talking about? You just see like the eyes. That reminded me a lot of the Neon Demon when I watched
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, even like I was saying, John Carpenter, Halloween, you get all these slasher films in the 80s, and that would lead up. Like, those films would bring the slashers of the 90s. So to me, this is like an essential in horror.
In the timeline of horror.
In the timeline of horror cinema.
Oh, yeah.
And especially the slasher genre. And that's why I definitely need, like, I feel like I personally underrepresent giallo films so much. Like, I need to go back and watch a bunch, because like I've only seen Suspiria and I know like nothing else about the genre, so I don't know, I feel like that's a hole.
Well, I mean, we have all seen like what most people say is the most iconic film from the genre.
Well, there's also Deep Red, and The Blood in the Black Lace.
Yeah, Deep Red is also Argento, correct?
Yeah. Cat o' Nine Tails, Bird with the Crystal Plumage.
Yeah, awesome title.
Yeah, that's like one of my, like, I bought that movie just because of the title, because it sounds so awesome.
I love the mythology that this film brings to the table too.
It's so strange.
It's obviously more explored in the remake, I'd say, probably.
Well,
I agree.
It will, like, differently.
We'll talk
differently.
about that.
We'll get there.
Differently, but I don't know.
I was trying to avoid bringing up that till we got there.
Yeah, my bad. But I don't know. It's pretty interesting. And then like the finale of the film is pretty great. And I thought that, like, even though I found the film a little bit predictable when I watched it for the first time, I thought the finale that was like totally bonkers and really interesting. Like the way when I don't know, I haven't seen it in a while, but was it like lightning would flash and then like the outline of Marcus would appear and then she'd strike.
Wait, you thought Suspiria was predictable?
Yeah, a little bit.
Really?
Like the first half at least.
Like with the maggots on the ceiling and stuff.
I don't mean that
shit
like,
came out of nowhere. For me.
No, that stuff did. I'm talking about like when a suspenseful. a suspenseful scene would start, I would know exactly what was going to happen.
Oh yeah, but like we said, it's all about the style.
Yeah, it was just specific moments that were predictable, but the style is what I take away the most from this film.
100%. And that's exactly what is influential.
Yeah,
like the
exactly.
shots.
Mm-hmm.
The
not the
palette.
screenplay.
No, not the acting.
Yeah, no, the acting isn't the best, but doesn't really take away too much from the film.
No, I don't think so.
It is a little weak. I think the Jessica Harper's performance as Susie is the best, but it's not like
probably, but it's not like great.
It's not good.
Means, yeah.
Yeah, everybody else is pretty bad.
Yeah.
So like, I know this is something you guys don't really like so much, but like one of my favorite meme reviews, as I will call them, on Letterboxd, is the Suspiria one. I remember this one strongly. It's from
good old Brad Pitt.
Yeah, the user Brad Pitt, who I don't know, I'm iffy on, but this is like one of their best reviews.
Some good memes.
Budget for the film: actors $2,000, hair and makeup $300, dubbing $1,500, special effects $750, lighting $12 million. Like that's what it feels like, honestly. And
yeah, that sums it up pretty well.
Yeah,
honestly. Anything else from you guys on the original Suspiria before we get in? I mean, it's not the freshest in our minds, I know.
No, like it's been a while since we've all watched it. Correct.
Yeah, it's been
no one watched in preparation for this.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, it's just kind of great style with like we've already been saying, style over substance, like to the max,
and exactly going off that, that strong style, I feel like invokes incredible emotion, which I feel like exactly is what led to this reimagining of Suspiria.
For sure. Well, Luca said himself that he wanted to remake it just because of like the feelings that he got from watching Suspiria.
Yeah, the style invokes that feeling through you. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like regardless of whether or not the performances are good, like it's the style that was so inspirational and influential and created that mood that everybody praises.
Yeah, and it kind of makes up for all the other like weak aspects of the film. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's so well done.
Because the style is so successful that you're not really paying attention to the weaker aspects of the movie.
Every shot, like it's so cool.
Yeah,
I don't know about you guys, but in my horror genre films, I'd rather have it evoke that emotion than
for sure.
Yeah,
like that's not what I'm looking for.
No, I love movies that just set an atmosphere. To me, like any of the great directors, they're the best because they know how to build an atmosphere, and that's what this movie does right away.
Burping. Sorry.
Lynch.
All right, so let's get into New Suspiria 2018. What did you guys think? Let's hear it.
Well, I just want to ask you guys, like, in comparison to the OG Suspiria, do you guys like this a lot more, around the same, or a little less?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that later, like at the end.
Well, I
haven't thought of this much actually.
Well, okay. I don't know. I feel like I get it out of the way at the start because I was gonna say, like, as I talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
so what about
you guys probably know, but I love both films. But to me, the remake.
Well, I don't think we should call it a remake.
Yeah, it's not a
reimagining.
This cover song of Suspiria.
As they call it.
Yeah.
If we have to compare them, I'd probably pick the new one, just because I feel like, even though the style of it was completely different, like there wasn't that.
Well, they're different, like completely different.
Yeah,
films,
yeah, but it wasn't as colorful. It wasn't as vibrant and.
Well, it wasn't its own way.
Eye catching. It was for sure in a completely different way.
It just used like softer tones.
It had that. It had that. It still had a style that created this atmosphere that I also adored, but I feel like it just took horror scenes to a new level where I was on the edge of my seat. My body would be like shaking with certain scenes, like some of those dream sequences and some of those dance sequences are just to me so impressive on a technical level, and just yeah, like I thought it was very innovative for a 2018 horror film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, I'd say I like them almost equally. Maybe the new one slightly more. The thing is, I think the OG Suspiria was like a bit more consistent, whereas the new one had greater moments, but it was also
has its highs and lows.
It has its highs and lows more, where the OG one was like more consistent, like I said.
All right, and I'm gonna have to like take the other stance here. I'm gonna go with the original. Like I said, that's like such an influential film to me, and like just seeing its lineage and like its importance in film history. Like I see so much drawing on the original Suspiria, including this film itself. And to me, that importance, I don't know how much you guys value that, but the fact that I always look at other films and say, oh, this is obviously inspired by Suspiria, like that implies some sort of success in the film itself.
Yeah, I guess
I don't fully judge a film like based on its how influential it was, but to me it is like icing on the cake, and I appreciate it more.
Well,
I agree with that.
I'm not necessarily saying how influential it was on the director, but like I'm saying me personally how I see Suspiria and all these other films.
No, we get what you're saying.
Yeah, I know.
Like not even like having people say, "Oh, Suspiria is an influential film for me," but making these connections on my own, and just like I said, at the point I watched it, it completely blew me away. I hadn't seen anything like it compared to this Suspiria, 2018 Suspiria. Great film. Like I love them both.
Yeah.
But
the other one just beats it, maybe based off just where and when I saw it.
No, I respect that.
I get that.
Yeah, I can understand either side, like whichever one they love more. I completely understand.
Like we all agree, they're both great films.
They're both great for sure.
And they're completely different films.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily agree with even comparing the two. Like to me, they're so different.
Yeah.
And there's so much going on in between the two. Suspiria 2018 is such a unique project itself. To me, it didn't feel like any other... maybe there's a few films that... I don't know, because even like something as simple as David Cronenberg's The Fly, like it's totally different from the original film, but the original film doesn't hold up to David Cronenberg's film.
Not at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
Have you guys seen the original one?
No, but
I've seen many
bits.
clips.
Yeah, I've seen it a while ago.
So like
it's goofy at best.
When you have these two films that have this relationship together, but are so unique and so different on their own, and they both stand on their own, that's just something that doesn't really happen. That hasn't really happened before, I don't think.
I respect them for doing that. I respect them for like not trying to make a similar kind of movie, because to me that's what remakes, quote unquote remakes, but to me, if you're gonna like remake a film, that's what you should do. You shouldn't try to make a shot for shot remake of Psycho like what Gus Van Sant tried to do and failed miserably.
Yeah.
You need to come up with your own vision. And I thought that this film nailed that.
Okay, I can think of one other example, actually. Just because I feel like this brings up so many interesting questions about remakes and reimaginings, because we've complained so much about, like, I don't know about you guys, but I personally, like, have hated this recycling of things in Hollywood and such. And to have this artistic filmmaker do something not because... I don't think he was doing it for profit at all. I think he just wanted to make this movie.
No, definitely not profit. I mean, I don't know, who knows if this movie's making all that much money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the film would have been as risky as it is if it was trying to make profit.
Like, the other example I want to bring up, I guess, is Werner Herzog's Nosferatu in the original Nosferatu.
Yeah.
That's the only other example I can think of where you have this relationship together.
I could think of one, probably.
Yeah?
Sorry, I don't know if you were gonna...
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say Martin Scorsese's remake of Cape Fear.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen either of the Cape Fear.
He basically took the original film, and the new one has just like way more of a family dynamic going on with the film, whereas the original is just.
But was the original like just as good, pretty much?
The original is like, I think it's an acclaimed film, but Martin Scorsese's version is completely different. I to be honest, I can't fully say. I just thought of the example because I've heard about it, but I've seen Martin Scorsese's film, not the original.
Because when I walked out of the theater, we all watched it together. You guys had seen it before. It was my first time watching. Mm-hmm. I said to you guys, I felt as though he wanted to make this movie, and he could have not named it Suspiria, like taken away, changed all the names, and people would just call him out for being like, oh, this is basically Suspiria again. So he basically just, instead of shying away from homaging to the film, he just completely embraced it, but at the same time changed everything about it. So let's get into that. What did you guys think of the style? What did you guys notice and stuff?
About the style?
Like, just in comparison, because that was the key aspect of the original Suspiria, right? How does that play for you guys in this one?
Well, for me, I thought both styles in both films are amazing. I love the style in this film, even though it's completely different.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just thought that, like, just the way scenes were shot with the use of zooms, with the way scenes were edited, even just the production design, it was completely different. But every design of like the walls in the interior and the exterior of the dance academy, and like towards the end, the snowy land, the rain in the beginning, it was bland, but I still thought that it wasn't like a boring image, cinematography wise.
Yeah,
it wasn't a boring image, but it was still like that good kind of bland, dark horror.
Yeah, the visuals were well constructed for sure, and I think that it looked a lot more authentic, which to me made the film scarier. I think because when I watched the first one, like we said, it's not like that scary, just because like you're looking at the style and it's like it's not really believable. But and aspects to this film aren't really believable either, but it's just the authentic look to it just made it that much scarier for me.
Yeah, well, like the original to me even feels a little bit like it has that kind of fairy tale kind of vibe through the score and through a bit of the visuals, just bringing that kind of fairy tale style to a horror film. And then this original, like you said, I feel like Guadagnino, is that how you say his name? Brought like a lot more realism to the table visually, and every frame of this movie, not every frame, not in the last 20 minutes, I guess, but for most of the movie, every frame kind of looked authentic, and I felt like I was in that time period of 1970s Berlin.
Yeah, for sure.
To me, an interesting thing is he wanted to show how he felt when watching the original Suspiria, but I got totally different tones, as you were saying earlier, or like moods going into each of these films. Like you guys said, the horror in this film is you're able to take it a lot more seriously. I don't know if that's part of time itself or how obtrusive the style might be in the original Suspiria to the new one. Mm-hmm. But just taking a look at, for example, Goblin's score versus Tom York's. Tom York's is much more almost like celestial, like kind of like chamber music almost.
Yeah.
Like it seems very haunting and like hollow to it. Not hollow in an empty sort of way, but like it brings on that sort of mood. And the color tones themselves, in the original Suspiria, you get these bright, vivid primary reds. And then in the new Suspiria, until the last 20 minutes, like you said, the tones are much more drawn back, much more saturated tones. You get a lot of like browns and beiges. Desaturated tones, sorry.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one's super saturated.
Super saturated, yeah.
Until the last 20 minutes, where I feel like it returns to form.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I loved is that obviously I love the style of the original, but I feel like the way Guadagnino reserved those moments of primary colors and the reds, I feel like put more emphasis on when they would actually appear. And it wasn't just in the last act. There were a couple other moments, like during the dream sequences, like when the lighting was changing as it was showing Tilda Swinton. When I put dreams in her every night, or whatever she says.
That's one of the most excited things, the things I'm most excited for in 2019 is getting this movie on Blu-ray, going to those dream sequences, because they're so rapid paced, and pausing every single one just to digest each image.
Yeah.
I feel like it might ruin how I originally felt. Because those were so shocking and crazy. It's just like, what the fuck's going on right now?
I know. Yeah. Half of the shots I don't even remember.
There's the worm, what are all these
mirror when the glass is breaking on the ground. It's not just
the snake in the mask that just happens super quickly.
And the intestine. But it's going so fast. But the one thing that I also loved about those moments too was the sound. The sound, it got so quiet. And then there would be that scream that would just come in toward the end. That was just the quietest moments of the film.
Totally.
And those scenes were followed by the loudest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was honestly those were some of the most breathtaking moments of the film.
Yeah, I was like, this director knows what he's doing. He's a really good filmmaker.
Yeah, I love the mirror falling on the ground in slow motion with absolutely no sound, and then drawing the blood on the wall with the hand.
Oh god, that was so disturbing.
Yeah,
fuck.
And just these faint whispers in the background that are just so eerie.
Yeah. All right. Any other positives performance wise? Because we've talked about the style for a while.
Yeah.
Any other standout moments? Standout characters, performances?
Well, I think we can all agree that Olga's death scene is maybe the most disturbing scene in the movie.
The last 20 minutes.
No, the first death scene when.
Oh no, I think the last 20 minutes are more disturbing.
Oh really? I disagree.
Yeah. I would disagree with that too.
That's a close. They're close. But
I don't know, just the sounds of the bones breaking are so perfect and
and the way it's edited too.
The way it's edited
in such a short time, you're getting this cause and effect between Susie and Olga. Susie,
it's a great way of describing it.
Susie is the one that's doing this to Olga, but also while you're getting that, you are getting the dance instructor's reaction to what Susie's doing, and they're in awe and appreciation of how good Susie is. And I feel like watching it the second time, I got to pick up more of the dance instructors and what they were actually thinking in those scenes.
Yeah, for
sure.
And
it made it even more enjoyable.
As a first-time watcher, I had a bit of the opposite reaction. There was so much mystery going on, and it created so much intrigue into what was happening. It made me pay more attention to the film, of course. And it really, drew me in. All of these weird, just surreal moments throughout the film. It's nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
You have later on, randomly during that dinner sequence, the one woman
killing herself,
stabbing herself in the eye.
Yeah, that's one of the only scenes I don't understand.
I don't understand that character at all.
Yeah,
she never talks.
There's lots of stuff that we don't understand.
It was so cool though. I thought her character was wicked. Every time she'd appear,
she's the log lady.
She's the log lady.
Well, yeah, and that same lady in the scene we were just talking about with Olga's death, there's we cut to her sometimes. There's a few shots where we just cut to her.
She's above on the balcony.
She was the fourth. She was the fourth. I forgot to mention that she's the fourth aspect of that scene, and
that confuses me too. Just
I don't know. That's
There's a lot to digest.
Other than I was just gonna say, other than maybe a lot of the political subtext of Germany at the time, which I don't really understand too much. I would probably say the biggest aspect of Suspiria 2018 that I don't understand is that character with the glasses.
Yeah, and I don't even really mind that I don't understand.
No, I don't mind it
There's
either.
so much I don't understand about that movie, but that makes it so much more interesting to me and so much scarier to me.
I feel like the mystery behind her character is just makes it really scary. I agree. And, like, I almost don't want to find out because I don't want that mystery to be taken away.
Yeah, I haven't, like, looked too much up about this movie just because, like you said, I'm enjoying the mystery of not knowing what the hell's going on.
Well, something interesting that Nolan brought up before we were talking about this, before when we were talking about Suspiria before the podcast, was how much this film builds on a certain lore, like this established lore of the movie that wasn't in the original.
Yeah.
For everything that we don't understand, we're given so much more to not understand. In a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That might be one of my weird quotes that these guys are going to roast me for later. But,
No, I thought that was very well said. I agree. I completely agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just referencing the PTA podcast there.
We're only on episode 3 and we're already getting self-referential. This isn't good, guys. This isn't good.
Sorry.
Alright.
You can cut this bit out.
No. It's fine. We're keeping it.
Yeah.
We're keeping discussion.
We're keeping it in.
Alright. Lost my train of thought there. Where were we, boys?
Just talking about the ambiguity of the film.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Well, speaking of things we don't understand, can we talk
professionals?
Everything.
No, but should we get into the whole political subtext of this film? Like,
I don't know anything.
What do you guys think? Like,
what? Nolan, you're supposed to have done you're the man for this.
No, don't put me on the spot. I did not really do any research.
Why are you putting us on the spot?
I don't know anything about it, but I will
just
say,
to ask you.
No, I don't really know anything about it. I mean, like, from what I hear, there's something about, like, generational guilt or whatever. But I will say that as far as the political subtext in the film, I found that at a few scenes it was a little disruptive. Do you guys agree with that or not really? Just
I noticed it more the second time watching it, but the first time I watched it, I barely even noticed it. And even though I noticed it a little bit more the second time, it didn't really bother me too much, but I can completely understand why you would have that complaint.
Yeah.
To me, the most disruptive moments are, like, I like how they do it in the background for the most part.
Yeah, like it's on the radio.
But there's a few scenes where it's in your face, though.
In relation to Patricia's character, they kind of relate her into the events happening at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's what, like, kind of took me away, because I'm just not familiar with the context here.
Yeah.
I guess the one thing...
I think that's kind of interesting, though.
Yeah, the one thing that is successful about is it gets the viewer interested and gets you to research these things.
Yeah, I feel like it's icing on the cake.
Sure.
And from what I sort of read, I already forget a lot of it. It's supposed to draw some parallel between the terrorists and the witches. So, like, you know how there's all that terrorism going on, and there's the left wing terrorists.
RAF.
Yeah, I don't really remember, but I guess it's supposed to draw a parallel to what's going on in the dance academy. I have to look more into it, but
I guess that brings up an interesting aspect for me, is that this film, compared to the original Suspiria, is a period piece. I never really thought about that till now, actually.
100% it is way more than the original.
Yeah.
Because that felt like it was happening in the time and place where the movie was made in contemporary society.
No, it is. And it actually happened.
It takes place during the 70s,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I actually didn't really think about till now. Which actually draws another connection for me. Did you guys think... I don't know, this might be stretching it, but I kind of related this film to The Witch.
I haven't seen The Witch.
You haven't?
A little bit.
Oh, man.
I've seen it. Victor, you
okay,
gotta see The Witch.
Then I won't talk about. Then I won't talk what I had to say.
Yeah,
about The Witch.
but I definitely know what you mean.
You understand what I'm saying,
I know what
right?
you mean. Yeah.
Because that's a period piece too, and it's about witches. So that's the connection.
I mean, there's subtext in The Witch that like historical.
Yeah.
There's a historical context to that film as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With witches as well.
Witches
be bitches.
So I don't know. Basically, the moral of this, or the lesson here, is that we don't understand a thing about the politics of Germany during the 70s.
Yeah.
Well, it has a lot to do with left wing versus right wing, terrorism because of the following like the Cold War and the Berlin Wall.
Berlin Wall. Yeah.
What did you guys think of? So let's theorize a little bit here. What did you guys? Do you guys think that spoilers here? Obviously, if you got to
we already dropped it.
Okay. Do you guys think Susie was born Mother Suspirium, or do you think she became Mother Suspirium? Suspiriorium.
Yeah.
No comment.
You don't know?
No clue.
Honestly,
yeah, I had no clue the first time.
I have
thought
no
about
clue. I think both arguments would be completely valid because I don't think there's anything in the film, at least that I've seen, that really tell you one way or the other.
Oh,
there are a few
are
things.
You sure?
Yeah, because the mother.
Are you sure?
The mother says this is the greatest sin. My greatest sin.
She was my greatest sin, and then there's the part when she arrives in Germany. And she has the Book of Berlin, and then there's the flashback when she was a little kid, and she keeps pointing to the map at Berlin.
Oh no, I know all
they keep
that.
forcing her to we're supposed to be pointing here and everything, but for some reason she's drawn.
Yeah, she has
to
this
dance
obsession.
academy.
No, for sure.
Like she says, she watched these tapes of this academy
specifically.
So many times.
She's like learned the dance before she even got there.
Yeah.
And like she even ran away from home briefly to go see Madame Blanc dance.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tilda Swinton. Like,
we gotta at least have like an entire conversation. We can't just shout her out.
Okay,
let's
dive let's get into this.
Okay,
so
because this is what I believe. This whole aspect, Tilda Swinton has to do with what I love about the movie the most and what I dislike about the movie.
I could agree with that. What I love about this 2018 Suspiria so much is, I said this in my review, it's like incredibly ambitious. But I think it's more ambitious than successful.
Yeah,
which is what I said in my review. Yeah.
I think it's successful most of the time, but a couple times I think it falls under what you're saying.
Yeah, no, it is successful most of the time, but a lot of what I'm talking about is Tilda Swinton's performance. I mean, she is incredible. Her role as Dr. Klemperer. I think
she looks like bad grandpa.
Yeah, in case you guys didn't know, Tilda Swinton is Dr. Klemperer.
And Helena Marcos.
Oh yeah, Mother Marcos. Yeah, that I didn't even know the second time I watched it.
Yeah, and I think for what they were trying to do, Tilda Swinton did very well, but I think that it was a little too ambitious because I wasn't entirely convinced by Dr. Klemperer that he was a man, especially in his voice.
That's you're bringing that to what is my flaw with Suspiria. I think the scenes with the doctor, they don't really take me out of the movie because of what's going on in the plot. I find his storyline actually is interesting to a degree. Like, I understand that subplot. I understand why people can be taken out by them, but I found those scenes and that subplot very interesting. But what took me out of it was like, right from the get-go, the first time I watched it, I knew that there was something wrong, something off with this actor. And then I realized it was because it's an actress. And I don't know, I just feel like the voice just took me out of all those scenes.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a fan of weird voices.
I like weird voices too.
I like weird voices, but it sounded feminine.
Like, yeah, and the dubbing was off too. Like you could tell.
Was it dubbing? Do you know that?
Some of the scenes were clearly dubbed. Like the mouth was going up and down. I felt like I was watching a Hayao Miyazaki film.
It's funny if a lot of the scenes are dubbing. I would have, if I were Luca Guadagnino, I probably would have just hired a male to dub it over.
Yeah, what the hell?
I like the voice. Screw that. I completely disagree with you guys on this one.
Wow.
I thought that.
You don't think the voice sounds feminine?
No. Well, I think it sounds feminine, but I think it's like such a unique old man voice. Like, I could see that voice actually existing. Like an old, frail man in his period.
Maybe,
I don't know. It just felt awkward to me, and I know that Tilda Swinton played her, so like...
Him.
Getting all confused here.
Yeah.
It's just... I don't know, I just felt awkward, and now that I know it's Tilda Swinton, every time I rewatch this movie, I'm just... Whenever those scenes happen, I'm just gonna be like, oh, to me, this it would have been a better movie if they casted someone like Christopher Plummer or something like that. Like, imagine if Christopher Plummer or someone like that, or Max von Sydow played Dr. Klemperer. I feel like for me, I would have been taken out of those scenes because it would have been a male playing a male.
It's weird for me because I love the fact that they chose Tilda Swinton to do it, but I love the ambition, as I've been saying.
And the performance is good.
It's a good performance. It just doesn't entirely work for me.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to take the opposite stance
on this one. Yeah, you disagree, and that's fine. But...
the one thing that I wish they hadn't done was ever, even announce that was actually Tilda Swinton. I wish they just, kept it going.
Well, it's cool. I don't know if you guys know this. The name of, the fake actor they made, what's his name?
Lutz
Ebersdorf?
Yeah.
So there's a cool little hint that the filmmakers did. So supposedly in German, Ebers means swine and Dorf means town. So Swinetown, Swinton.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that is.
And I don't know. Like I said, I love the ambition of what they were trying to do, but I don't think it was entirely successful. Well, and I know you guys did find his subplot interesting, but that was another one of my, I don't know if an issue with an objective issue with the film, but I guess more of a subjective issue is I was just never really intrigued by his character, his plot. Every time that he was on screen, I just kind of wanted to get back to the Dance Academy because to me what was happening there was so captivating. Yeah. So every time I was with him, I was kind of just waiting to get back there.
I guess for me, the subplot kind of drew on an overlying theme in the director's filmography. I've only seen Call Me By Your Name, but sort of doomed tragic love.
Yeah.
That definitely is a theme in A Bigger Splash, which I've seen.
Okay, yeah. So,
and Call Me By Your Name, obviously.
Yeah.
Seeing that as part of the director's work, I think he really succeeds in doing that, especially in that last shot. And I think it makes the ending really powerful, where you've had this man tortured and traumatized, believing certain things. He was responsible for certain things. Just that the way he reacts to that scene almost feels like how the audience is supposed to react to the 20-minute crazy ass
the trip.
Yeah.
Markov.
Yeah. I just want to say another thing. It's weird about the casting decision for Tilda Swinton to play this man. I read something, I don't remember it exactly, but I read something along the lines of the reason that Luca and Tilda wanted her to play the man is because something along the lines of they wanted to remove all possible male gaze from the film or something like that.
That's really weird.
Which is really weird for me because when the movie first came out, they weren't planning on telling people it was played by Tilda, so
they seem
the male gaze would still be in the film at the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and because if the audience thinks it's a man, which is what you're trying to do, then technically the male gaze
that
is
makes
still
no
there.
sense.
Wouldn't the male gaze still be present technically because the director's a male?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the gaze of the camera itself.
So,
I don't know.
No, but
maybe I'm remembering what he said wrong, but that's what I remember him saying. Do you want I don't know? Do you want to look it up quickly?
If it let's just say if he said
I don't know.
that,
I just want to know
if he did say that. I just
want to know if I'm remembering him.
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me. Well, as I look this up,
yeah, we can talk about other things.
I was just gonna say I don't know. Maybe we're gonna wind down this Suspiria discussion a little bit. But we've been talking about it for quite some time. But I was just gonna ask you guys, what do you think is going on with this movie overall? Thematically, what do you think the director's trying to say? Or do you think he's making any kind of statement?
I just think he's trying to do what the original did and invoke a certain mood or tone. Obviously, maybe that perspective is just because I don't necessarily understand all the subtext of the political stuff.
Yeah.
And what's happening there, but to me that's just all what it was about. And I guess
I completely agree.
Part of what performance is in a way too.
Yeah.
I don't know, performance as horror seems interesting to me. That's another interesting aspect of the film.
Well, before we wrap it up, I just want to quickly say that Dakota Johnson did a fantastic job as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody did a great job. Mia Goth did a great job.
Chloe Grace Moretz, for the few scenes she was in the film, I thought was fantastic.
Yeah,
But
go ahead.
Yeah, as you were saying about like what the film's trying to do thematically, like that's even something that I haven't really grasped completely yet. But there's definitely a lot of feminist ideas going on, which is something I've read the director say. A lot about motherhood with like the whole death to any other mother thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Well,
it's something I'm gonna have to look into, and something that I think we'll all get more of on our second watch or our third watch.
Yeah, I think Destiny played a key role in this movie. Like,
with Susie's whole journey.
Susie's whole character arc.
Yeah.
I thought her character arc was really fascinating and far superior to the original.
Well, there's no competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then on the whole, I also think that we shouldn't just give credit to Guadagnino because the screenwriter, I'm just looking up his name here, David Kajganich. Sorry if I butchered your name. I think they were trying to explore a witch mythology that can be applicable to real life situations, and I think that was the whole point of the political subtext, is that they're making a link between something so unrealistic and out there to something that actually happened in real life.
You just reminded me of like another part I loved about this movie is Suspiria is the witch of breath, correct?
I think size,
or just the way breath and breathing is used in this film is fucking amazing.
for sure. Oh, there's one scene I want to quick talk about because it's one of my favorite scenes.
Breathing?
No.
Okay, because there are some great scenes.
There's breathing so good.
It's the scene when Susie hears a noise. She hears like laughter going on somewhere in another room, and she like sneaks in, and she's watching the witches, the staff or the witches like playing with the cops. Penis or whatever, and the laughs.
I know.
Oh my god, it was so good. It was so creepy.
It was really funny but scary at the same time.
Yeah,
I don't understand how they did that.
To me, I mean, you guys know I love this director. It gave me that David Lynch vibe where they combined comedy and horror to just like the ultimate level, where you're laughing yet you're terrified at the exact same time.
Yeah.
All right, were you gonna say anything about breathing, or are we?
No, I mean,
I guess
not really. What would you guys rate?
Yeah, let's. Well, we didn't even rate the original Suspiria.
What would you guys rate the original Suspiria?
Okay, I guess I'll start. I don't have it on my 100 scale yet that I'm starting to use, but for me it's a good 9 out of 10, 4.5 out of 5, and then the new Suspiria is a strong 4, basically like an 80 out of 100.
4 to 5,
yeah.
Okay, Nolan.
Well, I love both films, but the original Suspiria, it is one of my favorite horror films, but I'd give it an 8 out of 10. And then the new Suspiria, I absolutely fucking loved. I thought it was one of the most interesting horror films I've seen in like a really long time. So overall, I'd give it a 9 out of 10. And the thing that prevents me from giving it a 10 is that aspect involving Dr. Klemper.
Yeah, I'm in the middle ground of both of you. I'd give both an 8 out of 10, but the original probably a lighter 8, whereas the remake would be, or the reimagining would be a stronger 8.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I've said before, the new one's just so more ambitious. I think the highs of the film are so much higher than the original, but there are some inconsistencies. And
do you guys think they're going to take it any further? Like, do you think they're going to build off this? Because they've sort of maybe hinted that
fucking post-credit scene.
They could
the most
build off
worthless
this universe.
Post-credit scene.
No, but do you think
that was just to be like, hey, we might make a Suspiria too?
Yeah,
it would be like
Inferno, yeah.
Oh, true.
Like the trilogy.
Yeah, because they're each about the witches, right?
Yeah, true.
I don't know. I hope not. I hope this just stands on its own personally.
I don't know.
I don't know. That'd be interesting.
No, I would like to see like a remake of Inferno by a different director. Get like some other kind of auteur's vision on this.
He did
universe.
such a great job of like, I don't know, just his take on the horror film was like really interesting to me.
I agree.
I'd be down to see 2 more movies like this.
I'd be down too.
All right. So I think that just about wraps up for Suspiria. Thanks for listening, guys, and
bye-bye.